What is up, everyone? Sean here, and I am joined by my good friend Cory, and we are here for the first episode of a podcast type of thing I'm trying to start out for this YouTube channel, and it's going to be called the H-525 podcast. And basically, in this podcast, you're going to hear us ramble on about things from gaming to, let's say, entertainment, just anything just that is a hot topic pretty much on the street. So in this first episode, there has been a lot of talk about gaming, and including E3. It's been a week since it was being revealed and stuff, and then like Sony, Microsoft, and sadly Nintendo wasn't there to present what they had. It was just basically a war between the PS4 and the Xbox One. Now, for those who aren't really aware of the Xbox One, it has been really infamous because of what Microsoft decided to do with this console. And first off, the Xbox 360, the previous console, was known to be just a pure gaming console, and it offered a great experience online and offline, with great titles such as Halo, Gears of War, and all that great stuff, until they first revealed their new console, the Xbox One. And the Xbox One, this time around, is going to focus on all media, or multimedia, excuse me. And what that means is it's going to focus more than just gaming, but it'll also focus on the TV experience. But what the TV experience does is kind of hinders the gaming experience in a way. And that gaming experience also is being handled rather poorly. And let me start off why or how that's being handled poorly. First off, it required an online connection. What that means is you have to have internet just to play games that don't normally require internet. So that includes single player games. And the Xbox One also had a very strict policy on used games. And used games, it's just like basically what they're trying to do with this is that they were trying to limit you on how you handle your used games, and that includes not being able to sell them back to, let's say, GameStop or Amazon or Best Buy in a normal fashion. What they offer to you is that you're only going to be able to sell your games at GameStop or participating retailers. But because the lack of competition that said to GameStop or whatever, or said store, well, if there's limited competition, so why should we give this much money to the customer? So that would mean less trade-in value. And also there are a lot more things, but I can't just remember off the top of my mind. But yeah, it really had bad DRM policy, and and also, as I said before, the online connection requirement. And what also that means is that, let's say you try to play it at your college dorm, and you try to play a game, and suddenly your system cuts off in an hour. Well, that's how it's being handled with the Xbox One, because they require you to have internet connection to prevent any software piracy. But yeah, that's just being handled poorly, rather. Now and of course the actual game disc itself would be useless, and because they are trying to endorse cloud gaming. And what cloud gaming is, in a nutshell, is having your games stored in a server. All your games, everything stored in a digital library that's being operated by servers. You know, that sounds like a good idea and concept. Like, you know, you don't have all this space in your house with all these games, but what would happen if, let's say, there's a Xbox 2? Are they going to support those servers forever? Most likely not. So what would happen? Poof. No more.
That's a really good point, you know. I was thinking about that. Like, if they put all the games on servers, then they're infinitely creating an issue for themselves to constantly keep building bigger and bigger data centers.
Right.
Because, you know, I can't think of any of the numbers off the top of my head, but let's just rough guesstimate. Let's say, like, you know, 2.5 million people in the US have a console, right? And say those people buy an Xbox One, and they're like, okay, yeah, I know I'm going to buy 10 games or whatever over the span of 2 years, and they've got those 10 games. Well, you know, if you've got 10 games times 2.5 million people, that's a lot of data. You know, data is not necessarily small, and if they're trying to send all these games out to the cloud, you know, what will happen if they move on? You know, they've got to continuously have all that backlog of support.
Exactly. Yeah, so with that and much more in mind, that really put fans in an outrage. And while that was happening, Microsoft just handled like feedback and just like maybe I guess public relations in general like just so poorly.
They really did.
Yeah.
Some of the worst PR I've ever seen.
Like, for example, on the website it said you could play with your family or guests in your house on your console. Like, what? Oh my god, I didn't think of that. Like, that's so revolutionary. No, it fucking isn't, because we've done that ever since, let's say, the Atari was out.
Exactly. Like, I remember my old NES. I could do that since NES. You know, it's like, this isn't new technology.
Like,
come on, you're
and especially the Wii. It's like
exactly.
That should be it's a modern console, so that would have served you as a reminder. So either way, it should not have been an excuse, you know?
Exactly.
And then there was a really funny video of Don Matrick, who's like the head of the whole development on the Xbox One, pretty much. And it was a response to Sony making fun of their policies. And basically they said, this is how you share your games. Oh, thanks, buddy. You know,
yeah,
you just handing the game to him.
Literally handing it to him, yeah.
Yeah, because Xbox One doesn't allow that. Because they had this weird thing where, like, they have to be your friend on their Xbox One for like 30 days or something, and then you give them.
I was reading that.
And then...
And it was only giving them a digital... You could only share it with them digitally.
Yes.
Through the cloud server. You couldn't even share the disc with them.
Yeah, right.
Like, if they wanted... Honestly, them doing away with the whole ability to share the disc as a disc service.
Right.
Personally, like, me thinking about games that I've played, like, the best way to sample a game was if my friend had just bought it, and I could say, hey, you know, people beat games in, you know, matters of hours now. Like, if he beats it the first day he has it, and I say, hey, can I borrow that, you know, for a couple days, I get to test it, you know? I'm not going to try and beat my friend's game, like, whole level of it. I'll go and buy it myself. Like, that's free advertising, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to get rid of that. It's not the smartest.
Yeah, and Microsoft failed to realize that. But, back to the point, Matrick basically said that, like, the Xbox 360 is an offline device. So therefore, if you don't have any internet, go to the 360. It's like, is that really how you should respond?
Yeah, you're shooting your own product, you know, down, basically.
He shot himself in the foot, pretty much. Like, why would you say something like that when it's about moving on to the next console generation. So I just couldn't wrap my mind around that. It's just, that was so poorly handled. And then more on that, like during E3 there was a interview with a gamer that's really, you know, well known on YouTube, and he does game reviews. He goes by Angry Joe.
Gotta love Angry Joe.
Yeah, Angry Joe is like he's like on his games. Like he knows what he's talking about, and he would dedicate himself to doing these interviews, even though he's not a journalist himself. He's just a guy who likes games. He managed to get an interview with the guy who one of the higher ups at Microsoft and the Xbox One. And then this guy goes by the name Major Nelson. And in the interview, he's like a huge fucking dick. Like, for example, like Joe was asking him a question like, well, you guys have the option of turning all this off, like just going back to the basics. And then suddenly he just well, I mean, he didn't say that exact question, but that was like the basic question.
Yeah.
And the guy, he takes the fucking mic. He's like, "Oh, excuse me, are you a developer on our team?" And it's like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
He just answered the fucking question, you know? Like, you don't be a dick about it. Like, "Oh, I'm this guy. I'm the one who made the Xbox One. You're not." So I mean, that's like what he's basically saying to him.
Yeah.
And but however, with all that being said, today there was word being passed around on Twitter and all the internet pretty much that Microsoft finally pulled out all that bullshit and they went 180 on that whole thing. So what that really means is, well, I have the list right here. It says no more always online requirement. The console no longer has to check in every 24 hours. All game discs will work on Xbox One as they do on 360. So that means there's actually content on the disc. You're not just installing a fucking game onto a digital
hard drive.
Onto a hard drive, yeah. And also, an internet connection is only required to initially set up the console. Kind of makes sense. All downloaded games will function the same when online or offline. No additional restrictions on trading games or loading discs. And also, no region lock. Basically, no region lock, which means you can play it anywhere. So, I guess in a way, you can kind of like praise them for having them to realize, and that also means that they actually listen to people this time.
That's a surprise,
right? So, but in the end, really, it's like the fact that you guys even did this in the first place. Yeah. So, and it's really funny. Like during the interview, like Nelson like straight out mentioned that they are fully aware of what they're doing, and they were aware that along with Matrick, that they're aware that they're gonna get negative press on it, like negative reactions from their fans and pretty much all over the internet. And you know, they knew that, but they didn't do anything about it.
I can almost see that conversation at Microsoft, PR person going, you know, this is probably not going to go over very well. And I'm just sitting back. I'm like, yeah, but we want to do it anyway because, you know, we get paid a shit ton of money and we've got really big egos and we're Microsoft. They'll love it. It's the Xbox. But apparently that's not really how it crumbles.
No, it's like, yeah, after all this like bullshit, they thought that, you know, maybe their fans were not going to do anything about it. But they forgot that this is the internet. They're going to get comments all over, and it's just going to be nothing but negativity. And it just blows my mind of how they went with it, you know?
Yeah.
And Oh man, yeah. Sure. They've now that all that's over, it's still kind of fishy, because the thing is that all of this is going to be fixed with a patch, which means that you have to download it, and then it disables the Xbox One to do all that bullshit DRM,
constant on and everything,
all that. So yeah, this is just done by a patch. So imagine when everyone buys the console and Microsoft decides to be a dick again
and not release the patch,
or just release another patch, and that would kill the initial patch, pretty much, and this shit starts all over again. So, like, the reason, of course, the reason why they all did this in the first fucking place is just the money,
Yeah.
And I love how they, like, while this was all happening, like, they placed their blame on the developers. They're like, oh, it's up to the game developers and the publishers.
Yeah.
It was all up to the publishers. They have the choice of letting this happen, but you guys are the ones to design this thing in the first place.
Yeah.
It's like you're pointing fingers at the publishers, but no, it's fucking you. So, yeah, but I'm just kind of glad that this whole shitstorm is over, and now we're gonna see some nice competition between the consoles. So, as much as angry I was, during all this, it's like, whatever. Like, now it's just gonna be a thing of the past. Hopefully, a thing of the past. let's keep it that way.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and then of course they're at E3. During E3, the Sony presented their console, and they revealed what it's supposed to look like as a whole, as a piece. And I gotta be honest, like it basically looked like the Xbox One, but slanted.
Yeah, it's a little.
It's like a black eraser.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, and what was another major negative about it? Oh, once, like, for the PS4, you are required to pay for online multiplayer, and the PS3 was known to be free, unlike Xbox. So that was like the thing about PS3, that you were able to play online multiplayer for free. Now, of course, it's not the best online experience, but it's free. So
yeah,
how could you go wrong? I had my like, for initial, like, negative response at that, but like in the end, pretty much, like, if I was okay with what I was offered for free, and now imagine what would it be like if I pay for it, what
exactly,
and what other people will pay for it. So it can only get better, so that's my take on it. And of course the game. So let's just pretend this bullshit was that bullshit never happened. Microsoft, had some pretty interesting looking games, but to be honest, like, I think for me, Sony kind of took my attention better, because, well, first off, Kingdom Hearts 3 is finally coming out to a console. It's like, yes.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting.
Yeah, and what else? Final Fantasy 15, which was formerly known as Final Fantasy Versus 13, but they changed the whole thing to an entire new title. What else happened? Oh, and there's Infamous Sunken Sun. I was just kind of meh about it, but Destiny for the PS4, excuse me, looked pretty damn good. Looked pretty exciting. Like, it was like it was pretty much like a massive multiplayer online first-person shooter. So, you know, I'm actually interested in that. So I don't know. What's your piece on this whole thing?
You know, I've been looking at them both and trying to compare them both, and I think for me, definitely the design is one thing that I've been looking at. And while, I mean, they're literally just rectangles. I mean, as far as I'm concerned. But I understand why they're going with that, you know, because I was watching the launch of the Xbox One again earlier today, and they're talking about how it's supposed to be a whole home entertainment thing, and I think it's a bad move on their part to frame it that way, because they're trying to target like a slightly older audience who can afford the $500 price tag right away for the console. They're moving away from, you know, teenagers and college age kids who don't necessarily have the money. And they're trying to target people who've got like a whole home theater set up. Right. And those, you know, the box shapes fit in better with everything. I mean, home audio receivers and everything. They're literally just boxes. I mean,
they really are boxes.
They're boxes. I mean, my favorite thing about the PS3 is the, you know, well, I don't even know what generation I have. I just bought it this past November. So it's kind of like that oval shape that you can stand up on its end or lay it flat.
It basically has slide. It basically has curves.
Yeah, it's got curves, it's got some shape. It's I don't want to call it sexy, but you know, it's got some character to it as a device. But these two new ones, you know, I see where they're going with it. Do I like it? No. You know, I understand that whole part of it. My biggest gripe, though, thinking about it, was this whole always-on connection, like you mentioned, you know, trying to connect to a college dorm. You know, I've been in the situation. It is a pain in the ass to connect consoles to college internet, right? I was at the point where I was using a spare old computer that I had with built-in Wi-Fi, so I could share my internet connection from that computer, since it had, you know, I had to be able to sign into a secure network portal kind of thing. So I was literally sharing my internet connection, you know, hardwired from the computer over to my console so that I could use the Wi-Fi antenna on my desktop to actually connect to the internet. I mean, thankfully we had fast internet, but if you didn't have that luxury, I mean, thankfully it was a Windows PC. It's way easier to forward your connection like that on a Windows PC. Right. I tried doing it on my MacBook, and I'm a relatively smart person when it comes to computers, and I was just getting frustrated. You know, I'm sure there are people who are far more superior than I that can figure it out. But, you know, thankfully it was a Windows PC and I could do that. But I was thinking about this always on. They're cutting out half of the market of the people that they want to appeal to. You know what I mean? If grandma and grandpa are sitting around right now and they're like, oh, what should I get Johnny for a graduation present from high school as he goes off to college? Oh, let's get him an Xbox One. Well, Johnny's going to be pissed as hell when he gets to school and he can't get the damn thing to connect to the internet, you know? And there goes his entire cloud of games and everything. What did they originally say? They might have some that you could play offline. He's stuck to those some offline games potentially. I mean, I'm sorry. If I'm getting that information wrong, I'm sorry, but that was just how I interpreted it when I read it. You know, in that case, if I'm looking at it, I'd rather get the PlayStation 4 where I know I can play stuff offline if I want it.
Right. It really is kind of stupid in the first place to even like endorse that, because I mean, sure, there are hardcore people that, like, you know, they want the fastest internet possible, but guess what? That number of people, they're not the majority. Yeah. Like, the majority is just people who have a decent connection and they just want to play the fucking game. And not realizing that is like just that. I think that was poor on the public relations department. So that really kind of gets me a little pissed off that, you know, companies nowadays aren't even concerning what people have, you know, before they design a product. So yeah. Like, and it's just I mean, it just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if they want to play like a bunch of assholes, that's fine. You know what? I'll run over to GameStop, buy an old Nintendo Wii, and I'll play fucking Wii Sports with my friends, because at least I know that shit's fun. You know, if I gotta make it more entertaining, I'll get drunk and do it. You know, if I gotta go down that road. But at least that way, I don't have to mess around with all the messy public relations crap. Games are still relatively cheap. I can still currently buy them for that console. You know. I don't have to deal with all the mess that they've created.
There was, I mean, and going back on the used games problem, there was actually a good quote from I forgot which person, but anyways, he says that to counter piracy, this is what he basically said. To counter piracy, you just make a really good game. So basically what that means is that, if that person likes that game so much, why would he, give that game back to, the store in the first place, or anyone would want to they download that game and play and then put it into a disc and then play on their console or whatever people do. I don't know how this is done. I'm not into piracy.
Yeah, when it comes to pirating video games, I really don't understand it. If you want to play a game long enough to beat it, just get a GameFly subscription.
Yeah, I mean, not only you're doing it legally, it's you're supporting you're pretty much supporting who you pretty much and the people who make these games. There's a huge problem that the gaming developers aren't getting enough money because these games are being sold as used, or they're being pirated. And I mean, sure, the price is pretty damn high, but I don't know. It's also on the consumer's end that they should realize that used games actually don't go to the developing companies. They all go to the retailer, especially GameStop. So
yeah.
I definitely want to get that word out. So my word is if you want to support gaming and you want to keep the gaming community strong, you buy the game new, not used. Especially if that game if it's used and it's only $5 cheaper. Yeah, there's a huge problem there, buddy.
Yeah. Because look, I get that games are expensive. If you want to pay less for a game and you want to still support, I'm not ashamed to admit that I just wait the damn 4 weeks that it takes for the game to go down in price, $10, brand new at a store, instead of waiting 2 weeks to get it $5 cheaper used, when like you said, all the money's just going to the retailer selling it, not the developers. I'd rather give the developers my $34.99 or whatever it is
than nothing.
Than nothing.
Yeah,
exactly. They're not gonna. It's not gonna hurt them if I wait a month to buy it, a little bit cheaper, and they actually get the money.
Right.
Whereas it will hurt them if I go, 2 weeks have gone by and it's $5 cheaper over at GameStop. I'm gonna go buy it.
Right.
I'd much rather just be a little bit more patient. Actually give them the money they deserve, because honestly there are some good game developers out there, companies that I've enjoyed most everything they've produced. So I want to continually support them. I occasionally feel bad because a lot of the games that I've gotten from some of my favorite publishers were freebies included with bundle packs and crap.
Yeah.
But in some way, shape, or form, they still get the support, because I've gotten 5 people to buy copies of Infamous.
Right.
And also Uncharted. That's another game that I really enjoy. Was it Naughty Dog did Uncharted? So I've loved Naughty Dog's work for a while. So I know I've gotten a couple people to buy copies of that.
Have you heard about The Last of Us?
That looks really good.
My friend.
I can't help but think of what's it called? This is terrible. I can't even think of it. The Will Smith movie with him and the dog, and
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. I saw the cover and I was like, oh my god, it's I Am Legend, but with the little girl instead of a dog.
Yeah, very much.
But yeah. I looked at it. It looks really good. I've got a friend who just got it. I'm trying to borrow it from him, which was going to be pretty easy because they just have to hand it to me.
Yeah, right. Can't do that on the Xbox One if they continue this whole bullshit. So.
It looks really good.
Yeah, my friend told me that. Yeah, it's really good, and it is actually pretty long, so you're getting your money's worth. So, yeah, I can't. And he said he's gonna let me borrow it. So yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Very nice.
what else? At E3. Oh yeah. You know Gran Turismo, right?
Yes. Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah. So they actually came out with a new Gran Turismo 6, but I think sadly it's still on the PS3, not on the PS4. So I don't know. That's like my major gripe on it. But maybe I don't know. Let me make sure that I'm correct on that one.
You know, I don't. If it is stuck on the 3, that's fine with me, because I'm not going to be able to afford a 4 for a while. You know, like I said, I just finally bought a 3.
Right.
And Gran Turismo is one of those games where I think I own all of them except for 2.
Right.
I don't own the second one, but I do own 1, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah.
Yeah. It's only released on the PS3. But I mean, at least it looks nice, you know, from what the trailer has revealed. So I'm in the end, I'm pretty pleased with it. Also, but on the PS4, I think there's a game called Drive Club, and it's kind of like Gran Turismo, but it's more of a social-based game. So but that means you're able to like come up with a team.
So are they trying to create Fast and Furious on the PlayStation 4 minus Vin Diesel in the
I don't know, but that's what it seems like. But I don't know. I think that's a cool concept.
That is an interesting concept.
It is, and then I've been hearing that it's going to be free to play when you get PS Plus, which is kind of like Xbox Live.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that'd be pretty nice. PS Plus does come with a deal where you get games for free. I mean, certain games, but you get stuff for free.
It's like a couple of them a month, I think.
Yeah, a couple of months. Yeah, and you also get automatic updating and what else? I mean, and for PS4, it's going to be for you to be able to play online multiplayer. But yeah, that's like the main parts of it. But I'm pretty sure there's more to it. And there's probably going to be more added to it in the future. So, and it's only it's like less than $5 a month. So
yeah, because I think it's like $49.99
for the entire year.
For the entire year.
Yeah,
which honestly isn't a bad deal. And who was I watching? His name Philip DeFranco. I follow him a lot just because he's way easier to watch than any news channel on the face of the planet.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he was talking about how he actually likes the fact that you now have to pay for Sony's online gaming. Because if you stop and think about it, when you had that, everybody's account information was hacked and everything, when it was free, now paying for it, they can afford to put in a lot more security on everybody's information and data. And, it's like you said earlier, like, if I was pleased with my free experience, and now they're going to make me pay for it, okay, it's probably going to be a lot better because now they're putting a lot more money into it.
Right, now they're able to put more work into it.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so what else? That was, well, I mean, I guess we can go more for the over for the PS4. What other title was revealed? I'm trying to remember, but I mean, like the presentation itself, I thought it was really funny because like the way they like presented the fact that you can give your game to your friend and stuff like that was really funny. That was pretty much like a kick in Microsoft's nuts, And it's like, oh, we don't have always online requirement and stuff like that. And for the most part, I thought that was presented well, and they pretty much took E3.
They really did.
By a landslide.
Yeah,
so, and I remember during the presentation of the Xbox One on E3, there was a technical issue during when they're presenting Crimson Dragon and Battlefield 4, which is kind of, I mean, it was kind of sad for Crimson Dragon because for those who know about Crimson Dragon, it's being developed by the same guys who made Panzer Dragoon, and I was like, it's another title where people get the nostalgic feeling when it comes to gaming, and yeah, I mean for them to actually to finally make another game, they had suffer this problem at E3, which kind of sucked. But you know, I mean, it's the past, and I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. So
yeah, it's definitely up there. I watched it the other day.
Yeah. And
cringed the whole time.
But for Battlefield 4, I love how the presenter, the spokesman, was about to just pretty much rage quit on the presentation. He's like, he's like kind of he was just about to go backstage, and he's like, wait, are we continuing? It's like,
yeah.
And then like they were able to get it back up again, and they replayed the trailer. Now, speaking of Battlefield 4, there's a whole nother kind of argument going on with Call of Duty Ghosts and Battlefield 4. And for me right now, I'm actually mixed, and because first off, Call of Duty was known to be kind of sticking with the same engine for a long time. As to Battlefield, they try to change out their gaming engine every few years, if not every year. Despite that fact, you're still kind of doing the same thing. Like, you're shooting and then shit falls over, and I don't know. I mean, for Battlefield, I mean it's cool. It's cool. Maybe don't get me wrong on that, but you gotta give it to Call of Duty, because it's a different take on Modern Warfare, which is like fast paced. It's arcade-ish. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. Like, yeah. I don't know. But yes, I am aware of how it's being handled and what it's been going through and stuff like that, and I can completely understand why people don't like Call of Duty and they go to Battlefield instead. But just please keep in mind that Battlefield has its faults as well as Call of Duty. I mean, just saying. With that said, I mean, for me, I'm gonna buy both of them, and I'm pretty much gonna just come up with my own verdict from there. Especially on the PS4, so I can't wait. But Call of Duty Ghost is actually gonna get a new engine, but during the not E3, but the reveal of the Xbox One, that was where it was first revealed. And the way it was presented was rather kind of cheesy, because they're like, oh, we got this dog and he's gonna do shit for you, and then and then they're like doing all these close-ups of their rendering of the dog, and then they're like, oh, you can see the scars on the nose, and then the attention to detail and all that stuff. It's like, okay, great, but how's the game gonna play, And it's like, oh, and you can notice how you can see the actual curves instead of jaggies when it's far away and up close and whatever, and I don't know, and also, oh, you see dirt on the fingernails.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then you see individual hairs on the arm. I thought it was fucking hilarious. And also they said they actually said you can jump over the fucking wall. Like, wow, really?
All right, awesome.
Yeah, walls. Yeah, walls. Yeah, and then also what was another one? Oh, when you're, and then they show this part when you're swimming underwater. It's like, move, fish, move out of the way for you. It's like, well, okay, yeah, okay, great. And there's actually a video where it kind of parodies on that, and it's like, yeah, a fish move away for you, and then they showed Super Mario 64 when he's swimming on the water, and the fishes move away from it. It's the same exact thing. I thought it was really funny. But despite that, after all that being said, I'm pretty excited for what Ghost is offering. So I'm looking forward to that on the PS4. And also Battlefield as well. I mean, but I gotta hand it to the guys who made Battlefield 4. It looks fucking gorgeous. It is insane how a game like that can look like that. It's just, I mean,
it really looks great.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on that?
Honestly, I think I come from from the generation of gamers who I sometimes feel left behind. And so when it comes to games, you know, like Battlefield and Call of Duty, I just kind of feel indifferent. Like, I look at the launches and the releases, and I'm like, okay, new engines, graphics are great. Oh, wow, they put a shit ton of time and effort into rendering. I can see scars on dogs' faces. That's really bitching, but just put a gun in my character's hand and let me run around and blow shit the hell.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where I come from, because there are 12-year-olds who play these games better than I do. I'm not ashamed to admit that. So when I go and I put the game in and I start to play it, like, when I look at it, like, I don't get super caught up in the, like, mind-blowing numbness where I sit there and stare at an intro for the however long it plays, and then I'm like, oh shit, okay, back to playing the game, like, getting super focused into it. I literally try and skip through all that crap, just hit start campaign, go online, do whatever I gotta do, and just run around and shoot stuff. You know, so like I almost feel guilty in trying to have really good opinions on them, but I'm just like, all right, that looks cool.
Yeah,
I see why they did what they did, but I just wanna shoot shit.
Yeah, it's really funny because, like, you know, you said that you're kind of behind on it. I mean, like, it's also funny because this generation pretty much is dominated by first-person shooters, like, including, you know, Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, Gears of War, and, like, other shooters. Like, this whole generation has been all about shooting, and, you know, and especially Borderlands 2, and like, there's a whole other bunch of games. I forgot what was. There was one where you do it, like, parkour was kind of incorporated with shooting. And that was like a flop too. What was it? And it also had a really weird style, like an art style to it. What was it called? I don't know. I mean, basically my point is it's being dominated by shooters. And I remember, like, the previous generation is like, it wasn't so much that. Like, it was like just kind of like a mix, pretty much.
Yeah,
like,
it really was. Like, the last time I was really, really, like, on the main front page, like, caught up with everything gaming wise, like, God of War was one of the really big titles. Granted, I still love God of War. That's one of my favorite series to play. Like, games more like that, where it's, you know, you going through the story. It's not necessarily a first-person shooter. You had a mixture of racing and and some sports stuff and everything. And now, like you say, definitely, like, it's shifted over to literally the most popular titles are almost always first-person shooters.
Yeah, and this whole thing started with Call of Duty, because of Call of Duty 4. And yeah, I mean, there's a reason why it kicked off all this shooting craze. Like, it was a really good game.
Yeah.
So what happened was, well, this game did so well, they just wanted to copy it and just try to get money out of it. And ever since, it was nothing but shooters for this generation. So I mean, hopefully that won't apply so much to this coming generation, and hopefully we get a mix of games rather than just shooters. I mean, I like shooters, but, you know, a mix would be nice. A mixed bag would be great.
Yeah, because shooters are fun. I mean, you literally you plug in and just spin around. You could literally, if you want to be one of those assholes in online gaming where you literally just spin around in circles and
right, yeah.
You have that choice. Whereas other games, you're forced to make the progression, which that's fun too, because, you know, it's like solving a puzzle. I mean,
right.
You're old and nerdy like I am. You like solving shit, you like doing shit like that, but yeah.
And then, well, and like, I think the generation before, you know, like the GameCube, PS3, and Xbox, and it there was, you know, Mario 60. I mean, Nintendo 64, and the original PlayStation and Dreamcast, and whatever. And then, like, generations before that, it was all about platformers. So, like, you know, you jump on shit and stuff like that. And so now for this generation, it's shooters. You know, it's exactly like that. It's funny how, like, history kind of repeats itself, but at the same time, it brings in a twist.
Yeah, because it's a whole new concept, but it's like similar flow.
Right.
I mean, it's like, what is everybody doing fairly well right now? Platforms. all right, every game we make is going to be this. What's everybody doing really well right now? Shooting. Okay, we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely makes you stop and wonder what the next generation will be. And if that next generation is on this next set of consoles that we've got, you know, is it going to be on PS4, Xbox One, everything? Or is there, you know, is it the generation after that? Like,
right. Where's that going to go, you know? I just hope that fighting games will get a much more attention. I definitely think that they deserve more attention. The fighting games are fucking just awesome, you know?
They're classic.
Yeah.
I mean, you stop and think about it. For the most part, I think well, for myself, I know my first video game experience was an arcade game.
Right.
It was in a Pizza Hut. Somebody gave me $1 in quarters, and I played Street Fighter, just you know, for hours.
Yeah.
And I kept going. You know what I mean? They're classic.
Yeah, it's I don't know why. Like, I mean, of course it's the whole shooter craze thing, but I mean, this generation did get a fair dose of fighting games, including the new Street Fighter, Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter, and then like the arcade edition. And also, Mortal Kombat, the new Mortal Kombat came out. I think people refer to it as Mortal Kombat 9, just for the sake of making it, you know,
sequential. And
yeah, sequential, right? And what was another one? Didn't you play a game called Blaze Blue?
Oh my, yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, that's probably good, like 4 years ago. I remember playing it.
Yeah, I mean,
that was an interesting game. That was a fighting game. Yeah, it was okay. I think it was in development though, or it had just come out of development when I played it.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I believe that came out for this generation too. So, that was another good one. And then there was there's one called Persona Fighting Arena, and I've seen gameplay of it, and yeah, it was basically kind of like Blaze Blue, but with, you know, characters from the Persona series, which is like, I guess an RPG series, I think. But yeah, it looked really cool. And and also Soul Calibur. I think Soul Calibur had Soul Calibur 4 and 5 in the same generation. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, they were fun, but like 5 definitely had a really bad story mode. But the actual fighting itself, the gameplay itself was really fun. So I mean, fighting games in general definitely got a fair dose, as I said before. So, but yeah, they definitely need more support, and they deserve more attention from gamers for this coming generation. There's only one that's known that's going to come out. Or no, excuse me. 2, I guess. One is Killer Instinct, which is coming out only for the Xbox One. But thank God that bullshit thing went away. So people are able to be able to play Killer Instinct. And have you heard of Killer Instinct?
I saw a brief article about it last night. I'm not too up to speed on what it's about though. Killer Instinct was actually a classic fighting franchise, and it was, I think it was out first on the Super NES, and it was an instant hit, and it was like strongly considered as a classic amongst, you know, fighting games. And you know, now, I totally remember that it came out for the N64 as well. It did. That was Killer Instinct 2.
Yeah, Killer Instinct 2. I heard that wasn't as superior as the first one. Like, it was funny because, like, I remember when I got I got the N64, and when, like, the box was still there, like, sitting in my house, and it's just like, you know, like the N64, and there was Mario right there, and then on the back, I always saw Killer Instinct, like, boom, right there, like, and Wave Racer or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah, and like the box art for it was like, yeah, I mean, it brings back memories. But anyways, I've always seen Killer Instinct 2, like, boom, right there. Like, I was always curious, but I never got around to actually play it. and like now that I've seen it on YouTube, it's like, oh wow, this is actually pretty cool. I mean, and they actually did things before, like games like the modern Street Fighters and stuff like that, and this game from Capcom called Darkstalkers. And what Killer Instinct did first was they have the health bars, like they have 2 health bars, and when one went down, that was considered a like round over, but not really. So the game keeps going, and even like the losing player still kind of has a chance to fight back, because like the health bars don't reset. You know how like traditional fighting games normally would have, you know, two to 3 rounds, whatever.
Yeah, and you go your round, and
then like your health resets. Yeah. And it's like, and then like it's harder for the player with a slight disadvantage to come back. But with Killer Instinct, that wasn't so much that, and it created a really fast-paced fighting game overall. And you know, I thought that was really cool. And you know, Darkstalkers took that mechanic and actually put it in their game, and that definitely created this, you know, whole fast-paced action. And now, you know, now that it's coming back, it's like really cool that, you know, these fans are going to able to, you know, enjoy this game on the Xbox One. Especially without all that the bullshit. So,
yeah.
And the other one was Super Smash Bros. I can't forget that. They came out with their trailer from Nintendo Direct, which is basically their show of, you know, representing their new upcoming titles and stuff like that. And which is why Nintendo was not at E3 for their presentation. They were there for the booth so that, you know, people can play some games. In that trailer, they showed off, you know, some game, like some cinematic stuff, but at the same time they showed actual gameplay, so which is pretty cool. But what that trailer really, you know, grabbed my attention was that Mega Man was gonna be in the game. Yeah. So oh my god, it was so awesome. Like, because he is such a perfect character, and he's such like I think he's one of those characters that define gaming. Like he is just one of the coolest characters, and he had all these games in the franchise, and it just died out because, you know, the lead designer left Capcom, which kind of sucked. And pretty much Mega Man like just died for a good long time. But now that he's, you know, coming back like slowly but surely, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is really nice to just see Mega Man in the modern game, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna come back into the gaming biz. So I'm happy to see that. And also, of course, I can't leave what do you call it? Oh, the villager from Animal Crossing out. Like, yeah, it's really funny. It's just like, what, like, how do you have this character fight against these people? But, you know, Super Smash Bros. Is all about being random. Like, he's all these like characters that are just you don't really see them as fighting characters, but it's really cool to see them like when they are put into a fighting game setting. I mean, like especially with the first one, who would have thought that, you know, Mario and Star Fox would be fighting each other on fucking, you know, Hyrule Castle, or, you know, like, or on the Donkey Kong stage, or, you know, or like Pokemon Stadium. I was like, oh, damn, it's pretty fucking cool. So, you know, that's why what I loved about Super Smash Bros. And, you know, and I'm really glad that they were able to include Mega Man into the game. I mean, he is the perfect character for Super Smash Bros. So really happy to see that. Also, there is one more character that was revealed, and it was this is gonna be a weird one. It's the Wii Fit trainer.
Hey, she's relatively hot for a digital character. So, I mean, you know, finally getting an upgrade to Peach, if we're gonna be honest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, it's really funny. Like, Nintendo is kind of known for not having like really hot female characters. They're kind of just like, they're all cartoonish and stuff. I mean, I guess if you count Sheik or Zelda, but not so much, you know, like, because I guess the elf ears. I think it's the elf ears or something. But anyways, like it's just really funny. But I think Samus is trying to be like a sexy female character because like she loses the armor, I think, at one point in one of her games, and then like actually shows her like not only her face but her whole body, her whole figure, yeah, exactly. And then it was like she's like in this like tight like fucking suit, and like now it's just like just another female character with a tight suit and just showing off the curves, So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a really funny thing to say to bring up.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of mechanics they built into the game based on honestly, like what the hell are they gonna have her do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, I from the screenshots and some of the gameplay I saw, like for her trailer, and I think the Wii Fit trainer is gonna be like a evasive character because she like did like some like yoga shit, and like I don't know, she like I don't know, like it was really weird, but she had some cool attacks when she actually hit people, like I don't know, like human type characters tend to do better in Super Smash Brothers anyway.
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Brawl, like I think one of the best characters was Solid Snake. So I mean, he was like the second best in the tournament. I don't know who the best was. I think it was like either Meta Knight or like someone else. I totally forgot. I definitely know Falco was one of the best, and Martha was one of the best too. And they're all like kind of human based, pretty much. So like that kind of tells you what kind of characters would be the best. So I can see the Wii Fit trainer at least being either mid-tiered, low mid-tiered, or at being like generous high tier. Like, but I know I think she's definitely not going to be the worst.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but surprisingly in Brawl, they considered Captain Falcon to be the worst. I have no idea how. But I don't know, I guess they just based it off of statistics in tournaments, and I guess Captain Falcon lost the most. Huh. Which is really weird. And then next was Ganondorf, and then Jigglypuff, which is pretty sad, because Jigglypuff was the best in Melee. Yeah. Or at least one of the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so they really nerfed the shit out of her, or him, I don't know. I guess. Yeah. I don't know, this is really funny. What else did they reveal from Nintendo? I guess definitely like the next party game, Wii-U Party. I don't know. I guess I have to bring that up because my series is my channel is known for Wii Party videos, and like it's just like me and my friends just like fucking just having the share like the fun of our lives, just like playing this
playing frisbee golf.
Yeah, frisbee golf, or like
whatever they got.
Yeah, just like party games, and like I don't know, it just brings a lot of laughs, and like people love it. And I mean, of course, they have to have a party game exclusively for the Wii U. Like Wii U Party. So yeah, I'm happy that they revealed that.
I think it'd be interesting, like especially with it'd be ironic if it was launched on the Wii U platform, because I think that's one of the most family friendly consoles and more targeted at younger kids. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking about it, and it's like they really somebody needs to develop like a college party, like a college drinking game party game.
Right.
That would just be entertaining.
Yeah.
It just really would. Just because you got the controllers and everything. I mean, I guess you could try and do it on Xbox, but then you really look like an idiot, like
with the Kinect,
and everything. Because then you can't justify yourself looking stupid because you don't have something actually in your hand. Whereas
right,
you have controllers and everything.
Right.
So that was just a random thought that popped into my head. And I thought it'd be kind of entertaining.
You mentioned now that you mentioned Kinect, I forgot to mention that even with the whole shitstorm over, it's still mandatory to have Kinect. So what happens now is that the price won't drop, and it's still $500. So that kind of sucks. Like you're not given the option to not buy it. You know, like I think it would have been $400 if it wasn't for that Kinect. And that Kinect is not exactly like your average cheap ass webcam. It's like now it's using infrared sensors. It actually detects your body heat, and it's 1080p, HD, all that stuff. So it's not exactly like your cheap webcam. So I mean, and like not being able to not buy it is kind of just, I don't know, I find that really stupid. So
yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like I'm 50-50 on it. I was thinking about it earlier because you can use Skype
right
with the whole system, and so you stop and think about it. I mean, it's basically in my opinion, I'm looking at the whole thing as costing $100. The whole Kinect little module there. Looking at it as costing $100. So I feel like the Xbox One should be at $400, but they're making you get that for another $100. So if you were gonna use like just your computer or whatever, and you didn't have a webcam and you wanted to get a higher quality webcam, I mean, the best webcam on the market right now anyway is around $80 to $100. So I guess it's true. It's kind of helping you out in a sense. You know, if you've got people, friends and family around the world, and you want to, you know.
Yeah, I guess you can look at it that way, and it works with the gaming console, so that's like a 2-in-1 thing. But yeah, I mean, like for those people who don't just don't want a webcam, period, like they're happy with just text chatting or audio chatting. It's like, yeah, I mean, come on, like if you're not given that option, it's like, Jesus, like you're forced to pay that $100 more. It's kind of bad.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I don't know if the pros outweigh the cons. It's definitely a situation like that. But.
Yeah. But you did brought up a good point though. I mean, yeah. If you are looking for a good webcam, yeah. I mean, sure, but like. First off, the Kinect is like this big fucking hunking square.
That is true. It is pretty huge.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, like it looks heavy, bulky, and like I don't know. It looks like the fucking government designed that thing. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, and from what I saw, the Kinect is just like this goofy like peripheral that lets you play, let's say, dance games pretty much on the Xbox.
Essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
hey man, it lets you play Fruit Ninja 2.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
played some Fruit Ninja.
Now, I mean,
Xbox Kinect.
I mean, sure, I actually have an Xbox 360 with the Kinect, but I didn't buy it. My sister bought it on a Black Friday because it was like a deal. So I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, I can understand why, but I mean, like to buy that at full price, you know, when it first came out, it's like kind of foolish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like now, like if you get a good deal on it, then whatever. I'm whatever with it. But like knowing that people bought it when it first came out, you know, just I just find it silly, you know. And the fucker doesn't work. Like no, seriously, like. There's a game called Steel Battalion. Have you heard of Steel Battalion?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Steel Battalion was a game that that endorsed you to play on this big ass fucking controller, and it was like it had like around 40 buttons or something like that, and like it was like if you had that controller, you are piloting the robot in the game pretty much. It was. The whole concept and it looked really fucking cool. Like, and it had like the flip, you know, eject button shit, and like it had everything. Like it was like it looked so realistic. It was awesome. But when it came out for the Kinect, you know, Xbox 360, and it endorsed the Kinect instead. I saw Angry Joe trying to play that thing, and that fucker did not do shit. Like it was just hilarious and sad at the same time, because the Kinect like fucking freaks out like when you're like just sitting down and like just like I don't know why it does that, but like you can see on the thing the actual what it sees, I guess, and you're like this like weird blurred like gray pixely mass, and it's just like it doesn't. I don't know why it just doesn't read what you're doing, and like Steel Battalion just did not work at all. Like that can be considered as the worst game of all time, other than ET, because at least ET you're able to do something, but Steel Battalion. Fuck no. I mean, no, absolutely not. Like, you try to grab for this like switch, and it just like instead it looks out the fucking window, and it's like it's like no, I don't want to look out the window. I want to grab this thing, and then like boom, you're fucking dead. So yeah, that really shows you how your Kinect works, and like I don't know about the PlayStation Move. I haven't really heard anything from that. Like, what about you?
Neither have I. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that it just has kind of been under the radar. I think largely because of the feedback on Kinect and everything, and people either praising it or not liking it. They're more focused on that. And because if I remember correctly, didn't PlayStation launched their version after?
Yeah,
Kinect,
after.
so it was kind of already in the shadows. Plus, you already had the Wii had been really popular already before that point. So when people are thinking about games that incorporate you as part of the controller and that whole system, I don't think they're really thinking PlayStation. Granted, I had a friend who's playing a shooter, and they had on the PlayStation, and they had the whole new stuff set up, and it was pretty cool. I was watching them play. It is pretty cool. I don't like the design of the controller stuff. That weird.
You get the little.
It like, feels like a well, it doesn't necessarily feel this way, but it looks like a cheap toy from McDonald's from 1997, where they gave you like a fake microphone. That had a coil built into the bottom, so when you yelled into it, it echoed out slightly louder.
Yeah.
That's really just what it looks like to me. But I mean. It was cool playing it. It's a cool concept.
Now, I mean, like I think people said it was more accurate. Excuse me, than the Wii, because like it used the same concept as motion capture, like in movies. Like you got the ball in it, like the mocap suit, and then which use like balls and shit, and like and then like the sensors capture the movement. I think the problem with that was just the way it was marketed, and then like because of Kinect, they're like, well, yeah, this sucked, so I'm gonna think the same for this one. So I think that was the final nail in the coffin as to why if it wasn't successful as they wanted it to be. And I guess the Wii was the only system that really did that. But like the Wii really kind of defined one part of the generation, besides shooters, which was motion gaming, like motion or interactive gaming, and like unfortunately, for Microsoft and Sony, they weren't able to replicate that. Like they weren't able to get that success, and it's just funny how they just fell for it, and they kind of just took the bait, and like they try to put their own take on interactive gaming. But the thing is that sure, the Wii had a really good launch or okay launch at least, and they were to make sales.
Yeah.
But because like a good number of people got bored of it, it actually went down. And then like the PlayStation and Xbox 360 were able to pick up sales. Like they were always kind of slowly climbing. That's the thing. And we just kind of...
It plateaued.
It dropped. I mean, it was fun, But you know, I mean, I still like the whole thing, the whole Wii motion thing, because I had a lot of fun with it. You know, but the problem was that it focused too much on family gaming.
Yeah.
And instead of just regular core gaming, like it took a hard hit when it came to that. So and like you can only do so much with the family marketing. So I think that's why it went down from there. But the Wii U is like it's now able to bring core gamers in case, like, if let's say the Wii U is the only system you have. Not only you're able to play, you know, games with your family, but they also offer some pretty good games with, you know, core gaming for that person. And they have Black Ops 2, they have Assassin's Creed, they have Batman Arkham Asylum, Armored Edition, so that means it comes with all the DLC and all that neat stuff. And the funny thing about Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is that it's the only what do you call it? I guess edition that actually plays 1080p full, like you actually see full 1080p gameplay on the Wii U, not anywhere else. Because, you know, on the PS3 and the 360, you'll only see 720p. So I thought that was really interesting. So and the Wii U also offered this game called Zombie U. That one is a really fun game. I have that game, and it really is survival horror. I mean, like, if you thought Resident Evil was survival horror, no, it isn't. This game defines survival horror. Like, I think Resident Evil is like, it does have survival horror elements, but like, it's pretty linear, if you ask me. Yeah, but in Zombie U, I mean, it does offer a storyline and it does offer linear gameplay, but you're not forced to, you know, progress, you know, like further on and on and on and on without having to go back. You know, you're able to go all these areas every time you want. So so yeah, you have that option. If you just want to shoot out zombies and shit, and you know, get some supplies, go back to your safe house. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, yeah, it offers that kind of gameplay. But you know, if you want a storyline, it does offer that as well. So, anything else? How about you? Anything you picked up?
No, I mean, I really just got caught up with the main, the whole Microsoft thing was really just what caught me, like the biggest thing that's been my attention recently. Although I will say, what is something I picked up? Something that I did like from Sony was that I noticed a lot of the hardware specs on the PS4 were really closer in line with what I would expect to be in a gaming PC. And so I think that's a smart move on their part, because it makes it easier for game developers to change the code when developing, you know, parallel versions of a game. If you want to release the PC version, you want to release
PS4
the PS4 version of it. They're pretty similar. They're running on a lot of AMD chipsets for the graphics and everything, so that's really cool. GDDR5 RAM, so you know, it's definitely up there. Right. Which is really cool as well. So I think that was something that I saw that really caught my eye. I think that's a very smart move. Right. On their part.
Did you see what the controller looked like?
I did see what it looked like. It's interesting. Some people were really happy that it changed. I personally am a very big fan of the classic PlayStation controller. It's what I started playing with. It's been my favorite controller. I'm familiar with it. I've enjoyed it. I've watched its only. I mean, if you want to be technical here, I think I've seen it evolve 3 times. When the PlayStation first came out and it didn't have the DualShock, sticks on it. It was literally just a D-pad, and then you know, the 4 buttons and the 4 triggers. And then it had the DualShock, and the controllers for PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 were basically exactly the same, except for the color.
Right.
And then PS3, now it's got the built-in Bluetooth on it, you know. I enjoyed that. I can understand why they would want to change the controllers at this point and add in, you know, and change it up. Which, speaking of, I'm not even really sure what they changed nowadays.
The one change that I noticed is that there's a button on the controller, and that enables you to record your gameplay. So, I mean, I think that's really cool to be able to do that like so easily like that. And I think the console itself offers a 500 gigabyte hard drive when you buy it, and I think you can, and it's interchangeable too, unlike the Xbox One. So I that's something I found interesting too.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I'm looking at it now. So I'm trying to see what they really changed on it. Speaking about hard drive size in consoles, you know what I'll have to look into it and see if they've put any kind of restrictions now. Is like my PS3, I really wanted the 500 gigabyte hard drive version, just because I didn't know how many games I was going to be playing.
Right.
You know, I didn't know how much space I was going to need. I didn't know if I was going to put movies on this thing or whatever. Right. You know, because I basically bought it for the streaming capabilities. You know, that's really what I want to be able to use it for. But I like the fact that I can change my hard drive.
Right.
And it's not that hard to do. And a 500 gigabyte laptop hard drive is really all I need. Is basically what you need to swap it out. Those are, you know, $70. I wait till they go on sale. It'll be $50 of one of those. I back everything up onto the new one, pull the old one out, put the new one in, screw it shut, I'm done. I like that about the PlayStation side of things. Yeah,
and I think the Xbox One does not offer that, which kind of sucks. In considering it's supposed to be like the go-to device, and it's supposed to be all in one, you know, and which is why it got the name Xbox One. You know, which is a stupid fucking name, because it'll throw everyone off, including the people who aren't aware of the Xbox in the first place. And if they want to, you know, get it for their son, or they get it for their daughter, you know, especially for grandparents, like, if they want to get it for their son, daughter, whoever, like, they go to the store and then they see that fucking thing, they'll be like, wait a minute, so is that the first Xbox? So is the 360 the newest one? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I understand that entirely.
Yeah. So, the name definitely it's still there, I think, and I mean, it's just it's such a dumbass name. I mean,
honestly, they screwed themselves over when they went from Xbox to Xbox 360. If we're gonna be honest here, that's where they screwed it up. Because now they're gonna be like, if they really wanted to be sequential, they could have gone with the Xbox 720, which I know for a while that's what people were throwing out was gonna be the name of the new Xbox. But
I mean, I would have been, you know, fine with that, because it makes sense. As long as it makes sense,
exactly,
it's fine. But now you're going back to one. It's like, what the fuck, you know? And the reason why, pretty much, is because it's supposed to be an all-in-one device. So that's why they put Xbox One. But it's really fucking stupid, because it really isn't an all-in-one device. Because like, you can't play the first Xbox games, you have to call that now, first Xbox or original Xbox games, nor the Xbox 360 games. And it, you know, of course, it means it's not backwards compatible. Now, of course, the PS4 isn't backwards compatible either. However, you can buy PS3 games and play them, but you can only get them through DLC. You know, just digitally. Yeah. And you know you can't put your disc in, blah blah blah. Which, I mean, it kind of sucks. And but I don't know. I mean, that's definitely not my biggest problem there. I mean, unlike some people. So yeah, I mean, what about you? when it comes to backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I get frustrated that stuff's not backwards compatible, but I think I understand why the companies do that. You know, I personally, I play PlayStation 1. I have my PlayStation 2 still hooked up to my TV, and I've got a shit ton of original PlayStation games. And I love the fact that I can put every single one of them, you know, in my PlayStation 2.
Right.
Play them. That, for me, just, you know, PlayStation 2, as old as it is, was the ideal console. I could watch movies on it. I could play old games on it. I could play new games on it. You know, so I think probably right then they realized, oh, wow, we're going to lose money because people could still buy games for the older console and start playing them as opposed to buying brand new games that were being developed on that actual console's platform.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why, you know, they would develop their consoles to only play the current generation of games. However,
Right.
I do like, you know, the PlayStation 4's got the DLC ability to play some of the PS3 games when they come
Right.
out. You know, you can get the digital version of it, which is fine, especially since it's shipping with such a big hard drive. You know, download it, it's on there, you're good, you can play it whenever you want.
Yeah, the only problem with that is that you have to re-buy it again. So, I mean, I can understand why people get mad at that.
Yeah, that sucks, but if it's... Honestly, you come down to it, like, if you've got a decent television and you've got a little bit of space, you can keep your old console plugged in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're really sitting there like, I want to play this game, but it's only on PS3, just turn the damn thing on and play it on that. Like, it's not going to kill you to use an old console. I mean, unless you're the type of person who, the minute the console is released, you pre-order it, the minute it gets to your door, you set it up, and then you unhook, you know, you take your old one off the shelf and run down to GameStop right away and try and sell it for money. Unless you're that type of person, then, you know, whatever. If that suits you, fine. That's what you want to do. That's what you got to do.
Right.
I'm a pack rat. I keep all my old shit. I somewhere have an Atari laying around, I think, you know. So, I don't get rid of my older consoles. I keep them around just for the sake of if I want to play something older, I can.
Yeah, for me, I definitely still have my Wii because it still plays GameCube games, and I know that the Wii U does not do that. So that's why I've kept out the Wii, and in the past I did sell my GameCube away because of the Wii being backwards compatible with GameCube games. And yeah, and as you said before, like, if you put backwards compatibility, you're gonna have people buy the cheaper games rather than buying the new, you know, whatever latest PS4 game, you know, and they're gonna lose money on that. So I mean, I can totally understand why. And backwards compatibility itself is kind of expensive. So I mean, in order to keep it modest, you know, you gotta make a choice. So I rather have backwards compatibility taken out for in the end, even if, you know, everything being said. Like, I personally don't really have a huge gripe with when it comes to lack of backwards compatibility, because all I need to do is just keep my old thing, my old console.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not that much harder. You just have to save up money a little more. You have to try a little harder to save up your money to get that console.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, for me, backwards compatibility is not that huge of an issue, but it is nice to have. So I mean, especially when it comes to like getting being able to like have all these consoles in one space, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but. Otherwise, I just wanted to play the new PlayStation 4, you know, get the games, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think something that'd be really interesting kind of just popped in my head is if somebody started working on a converter where, you know, you download the converter or whatever, you do it in your computer or whatnot, you put in your older gen game and it rips it to your hard drive and then creates like the digital copy of it, and so then that digital and it converts it to a digital copy that's playable on, you know, your newer console. I'm sure something like that exists, but I think it, you know, if that became more mainstream, that'd be really interesting to see how console developers respond to that kind of.
There's already emulators that do that.
You can get emulators.
Yeah, on your PC. I don't know if it works on consoles necessarily, because I'm not into that part of gaming. But I definitely know that there are emulators that work with your PC, and then you're able to play these older console games. And you know, I especially played Marvel vs. Capcom, the first one, on someone's PC, which is really funny, and you know, from an emulator. So, you know, it is interesting. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, with that, it definitely would bring a possibility that it can happen. You know, at one point, I believe some third party company is gonna try to do that, and in order to make money. You know. So, yeah. Is there anything else that we need to bring up?
I think that really hits a lot of the big topics that have been going on lately.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think we definitely covered a lot of topics that have been really going on. Yeah, definitely. All right, so with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up for the first episode. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. And so this has been the H-525 podcast with Sean and Cory. See you guys later.
Have a good one.